Peace survivors! Our special guest with us today is Lottie Spady, who is the founder of Earthseed Detroit. Earthseed Detroit promotes health and wellness rooted in natural and local food sources, plant based medicine, and therapeutic agriculture. By enhancing awareness of alternative herbal medicine, education, and multimedia production, Earthseed Detroit is dedicated to advocating healing, food, and environmental justice throughout the Detroit community and beyond. Lottie is also one part and core co-leader of SoulVival Life, and she is the co-founder and advisor of Black to the Land Coalition, a nonprofit which connects Black, Brown, Indigenous, people of color through nature-based activities. Lottie is also one of the collaborators of Healing by Choice, an organization of diverse women and gender nonconforming, people of color, health and healing practitioners who are committed to living with integrity and love through the wisdom of Mother Earth. Join me and Lottie as we talk about the journey to herbalism, manifesting dreams into reality, how purpose seeks you as much as you seek it, discovering ourselves through our connections to nature, and acknowledging the evidence of your greatness. From camping to hiking and foraging, we have learned so much and have had so much fun along the way with her. Lottie provides workshops for children and young adults, thus planting and nurturing of the next generation of Black herbalists. Y'all, this sister here is dynamic. She is passionate, she is funny, smart, and an amazing friend and mentor to many, young and old. So please welcome Lottie Spady. All right, so today I am reclining and relaxing with Lottie Spady of Earthseed Detroit, and this is definitely one of the episodes, Lottie, I have been longing for. I'm so excited. So please tell all the survivors and survivalists who you are, who Earthseed Detroit is, and what it is that you both do.
I am so glad to be here, Adrienne. Thank you so much. I know we've been trying to get this scheduled for a while, and it's so good to see you, even if it's not like in the real world. I'm just happy to see you, my friend.
I miss you.
Yep, my name is Lottie Spady, and I'm the founder of Earthseed Detroit, which is a combination of an herbalism education, and a healthy media content creation. I think that's pretty much all I do. And the subjects are always around, like I said, herbalism, healthy living, healthy lifestyle, environmentally conscious living, prepping, some survivalism, some homesteading. I'm really just learning as we go.
All great. Like I said, that's about all that I do. That is like you do a lot of things. So definitely, sometimes you probably don't even think about it because it's your normal everyday flow, right? So it's like, this is what I just wake up and do and what I think about. And to me, I'm just looking like, ooh, I'm trying to get on this Earthseed Detroit level. I'm trying to get on Lottie's level. But so I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to dive a little bit more into, you really opened up the doors for a lot of people. I know for me in particular, and probably things that you don't even realize, Lottie, that I've just started to adopt because I learned so much from you. But maybe you can tell us, how did the practice and love of herbalism find you? Because I feel like it kind of made its way to you more so maybe than you made its way to it. So how did you kind of come into this?
That's a good question, because my road has been a real winding path. Like my background, my major is multimedia. That's like what I went to school for. That's what I thought I was going to, and I do it every place I go, but that was what I started out doing. And then I started working in activism, and that led to environmental activism and food justice work, which I began to see like all these different connections, but one thing led to another. And you know how downsizing happens, and I got laid off and really was at loose ends in my life in a lot of ways, like not only employment wise, but a lot of transition. My parents had made their transitions, and just feeling beat down by life. I mean, just really what am I going to do now? And a friend of mine had an herbalism class in Detroit, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Okay, this is fun. This is what is this? This is cool. I mean, I always kind of had a leaning toward like alternative medicine, like really not mostly just tea. You know what I mean? Like for
Mhm.
cramps. I was like, oh, that was
Mhm.
my but that just really I was like, what? I should look into this because I need something brand new. Like I love to like reinvent myself about every 10 years or so anyway. I'm like, I'm doing something totally new. And so I contacted the teacher that she had, and he was having a class. And it's a kind of interesting story because it was like a 8 month long class, and
Wow.
it was 8 weekends, 1 weekend a month,
Okay.
and it was like expensive, and I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do this. And I really feel like the universe conspired in my favor because I told my mentor, Gwen Winston, who she was like, I don't know what it is you're talking about doing, but I will support that.
Aw.
And she made a donation towards my education and was like, and you go out there and you get that information and bring it back because we need that. We need this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then my son had a tax return, and like, when is he and his girlfriend? And like, when would they ever be like, they were like, Mom, we're going to give you some money. I was like, you are? What? 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 So they gave me some money. And next thing you know, I had kind of like crowdsourced. I went to a poetry thing. I was doing a poetry thing with Tawana, and
Mm.
she was like, well, we usually split the door, like however many people come, we usually split the door. But I heard you were trying to do some, I don't know what you were trying to do, some go somewhere, do something. So you take the door. And I mean, it was just like,
Talk about conspiracy in
it
your
was. And then so
favor.
next thing you know, here I am. It's the weekend before this class is supposed to start. Now I'm supposed to have paid my half deposit like months before and have it paid off on the first day of class.
Oh,
I
okay.
had like raised half the money. So I emailed the teacher, Jim McDonald, and I'm like, hi, my name is Lottie. I want to take your class. And he was like, I said, is there any way I can pay as I go, like do a payment plan for the rest of the balance? And he was like, I don't usually do that, but okay. And I mean, I was
Oh,
like, I knew, like, that's just how stuff, when you know you're
oh, that's
supposed to do
true.
something, I've learned when I'm getting all this resistance and pushback and all this other stuff, I need to sit down and be like, okay, maybe that's not what I'm supposed to be
Oh,
doing, because when it's right,
mm.
like you said, it found me. And I mean, and then I just, I was just
Aw.
deep in after that. I was like really all in.
That's awesome. I love that. And for anyone who's not familiar with Tawana, that just sounds like something Tawana Petty would do. So Tawana is a petty propolis where she hosts, she uplifts artists, poets,
Mhm.
a variety of different poets, and she's so amazing. And you always speak highly of Jim McDonald, and some of the information that you received from him. And talk about another thing that it seems like the universe conspired. I'll never forget this, Lottie. And you are the reason why I did a vision board in 2019. And you know where I'm going to go with this, because when I first stepped foot, I think the first time I actually came to your homestead, for people who don't know, it's not the homestead, it is the homestead. When I first stepped foot over there, you told me the story of how you did a vision board, right? I think a vision board of the place where you felt like you were going to be living and the place that you felt like you were going to be called home. And sure enough, maybe you can just kind of fill in the story of
Mhm.
how, again, how the universe conspires for you. Can you tell us a little bit how you landed on your homestead?
Yeah, that was even. that was part of the dot to dot. I love telling this story. And when I tell it, I still get kind of like,
Aw.
like that really happened. So yeah, so like the next episode was I go to the herbalism class. You know, I call up and I'm like, where is this place? And they're like, it's in White Lake, Michigan. And I'm like, where is that? Like, I've never, what is that? Do they have hotels around there? Like, how am I supposed to do this weekend class? You know, it was Saturday all day and Sunday all day. And so I was like, all right. So um, students had posted, if anyone needs some place to stay, they can stay at my place. And I was like, okay, well, I'm staying. I'm going for it. You know, I was in that mode of being like, no, I don't know you, but I'm going for it. So I'll stay with this young lady. And I came to her house. And the first thing I noticed, like, I need to find the journal from that weekend because I wrote in there, like, why do I feel so at home here? And oh my God, this is just everything I want. Like, she had beehives and a chicken coop and like this. I'm sorry, that's Riley.
You know, I was so Riley is our lovable big dog. It's funny, while you were talking earlier, I saw the stand behind you moving around, like shaking. I said,
Yes.
there's Riley back there. He wants
Riley,
his attention
hey,
too.
hey, out. He's sniffing around the
Hey,
bottom.
Riley.
Out,
Oh, I
out.
miss him too.
I know he misses. He said, "Where's our company? I'm
I
just
know.
with you."
Where's the camp folks?
But so you know, I just was really admiring the place. It was just everything I had, you know, back to what you were saying, like that's him hitting his dog food bag.
You know, he's dog is so smart. Like he is going to let you know.
Right. Stop. Out. Not right now. Out. Out. He's looking at
He's
me.
so cute.
So well, I might have to. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Lottie. Okay, so while Lottie's going to do that, Riley is I don't know, he's so human-esque that last time I remember hanging out with he called himself trying to hang out we were having a big charcuterie party and we had all this food and spread and people, and Riley was intent on being with the people. And at one point, Lottie tells him, like, go. And then he looks at her and he's like, okay, maybe if I don't like really look her in the eye, he calls himself like slowly walking up under the table. Like it was so manipulative that it was like scary. And he like makes sure not to make eye contact because maybe if she thinks I didn't hear her, he gives those big puppy dog eyes and like, yep. Didn't I tell you to go? And he thought about it for a minute and was like, okay, and walked so slowly and pathetically. It was the cutest thing ever.
He's a mess. He's the extrovert. I'm introverted, and I think he's the extrovert. So we kind of.
Lottie, you did not just say you're an introvert.
You know, that's a whole nother episode, but I feel like I am an extroverted introvert.
Okay, maybe it's that. We'll talk about the Gemini thing later. Because if you don't know, Lottie is a Gemini. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but I agree. I feel like when I tell people, no, I really am an introvert, they're like, whatever. Like you go up and say hi to people, you hang out with people, you're so social. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean like I have to mentally overcome like that to be that. Yeah.
So. Exactly. I don't feed off of it. Like it's not my, you know what I mean? It's not my nourishment to interact like that. I have to turn that on in order to be that.
I would never have thought that. Okay. You know,
and then when I get home, I mean, I'm like, home.
Okay, that part I can feel, but I do feed off of like good energy. But when I get home, I'm like, woo, that was a hard day work. That was a lot. Yeah, so you were telling us about how so you decided to stay at the home.
Yeah, so I decided to stay, and so like I said, it was just like such a beautiful, idyllic place, and I I realized later that I got home and was like, I don't know. I used to jokingly tell her all the time, if you sell this place, I'm buying it. I'm
Mm.
buying it. And sure enough, after a couple of years, she ended up having to relocate. And she, called me up and was like, the right people are not asking about my place. This is like sacred land. This is I don't want it to be like, concrete poured everywhere and everything has been eco, can you like pass the flyer around to some of your activist friends and maybe they'll buy it. And I was like, dang. Oh, okay, I'll pass it along. Now, mind you, I have wanted a farm since I was 8 years old.
Oh.
Since I was 8 years old, back then we had these things called newspapers. And on Sundays and Wednesdays were the days that the classified section was the thick one, right? And you could get the real estate section. And I was like really little, like reading the farm classified, the farm real estate ads, and I would like order the real estate catalogs out of the newspaper. My mother would be like, Fred, why do we keep getting these farm catalogs? I'm not moving to no farm. I was like, oh no, that's mine. Oh no, that's mine. Like I was serious, and then like you said, vision boards, I got books. Like if I pull out my books, you can see like I kept, and I didn't just do like one vision board, you know what I mean? Like I would do an iteration of that same sort of dream, like every, I don't know, I won't say any particular time frame, but like there's more than one farm over the years in my vision board book.
Gotcha.
Or I just make a list of like, it's funny because one of my books has a list of like skills I should be working on now. And this was before I knew anybody in urban agriculture. I wasn't even working in environmentalism then. And I have everything on there from like beekeeping, composting.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, I actually know people that do all of these things now. You know what I mean? Like, well, now I'm doing a lot of those things.
I was going to say, you're that person now.
Yeah. But at the time, I was like, okay, goals, goals, goals. You know what I mean? But I think that, like, I really believe that when you get like your energy, well, I really now think that vision boards are like source showing you what, let me tell you what I got in store for you if you just come on. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah.
If you just come on. Because I used to think I was kind of
controlling it, like
orchestrating, manifest. But I think now it's more getting in alignment, getting in alignment and stop pushing against, just being open to stuff because the stuff that happened. So back to her putting it up for sale, I was like, oh, how can I do this? Because I'm pretty much self-employed, right? Like I'm like, I work for a lot of nonprofits and do a lot of stuff. I'm like, I don't look good on paper. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't look good on paper. Like for buying.
Yeah, if you think about how like what looking good on paper looks like for like corporations and
I can't get no mortgage. I already knew. I was like, I am not going to be able to get a mortgage because they're going to be like, what exactly do you do? How many W-2s do you have? So, I was like, no, really, I have been working, and so I was just like, oh, and it was too expensive and all this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, if she would do land contract, I was like, I could do it if she would do land contract because that's, that's me to you. What we gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's whatever we decide it's gonna be. And I opened up that email she sent, and it said she had first of all dropped the price.
Oh.
By like, I think it was like $30,000 cheaper or whatever it was. And then in little letters, it was like land contract available.
See? See?
And honey, I had a moment with God on my kitchen floor because I was
Oh,
like, this is it. I was like, this is it. This is it, right? This is it. I was yelling though. I was not saying it like
you
this
was
is it.
yeah.
I was like, this is it. This is
This
this
is
it.
right. But at that point, you knew that, hey, wait a minute. This isn't just like there's something going on here. And I'm sorry, I'm like adjusting my lamp
That's
because
okay. But yeah, that's how I was. Like I was like, that's what I was gonna say. Because you can't, the reason why I believe it's you showing up for source is because I couldn't have orchestrated that like that.
true.
There's no way I could have put together as sweet of a package in that way. Like it was just, her real estate agent was like, what are we doing? Because she was like, I got my bike.
Oh,
When I called her and said, Dana, I'm about to make an offer on your house, she was like, you are the one I've been waiting for.
oh, that's awesome. So you found the house. The house found you
Oh,
actually.
yes.
Dana found you and you found Dana, like that whole
Yep.
orchestrated, like by the universe. Yeah,
That's what I'm
beautiful.
saying. Like I couldn't have orchestrated it any way. Like, I mean, no. And then when she's like, you are the one because I would rather have an herbalist, like you're the one that I want to have it. She's like, now what do we need to do to make it happen? What you need? What, how,
Oh,
what do
wonderful.
you need? How do you need to make it happen? And like I said, her realtor was like, I don't understand what y'all are doing.
But we don't either, but it's
You
still
know, we were, she was like, we're friends. Like
good.
that's that's how you do a friend. That's how friends do a deal. You know,
Oh,
it was
and
like so. So I'm a firm believer in the vision boards. Matter of fact, I've done some that I had to be like, okay, let me. You
oh
need to slow
yeah.
down, vision board, because you
It,
unrolling everything all at once. Okay. I said, I get it.
right, right. And for anybody who has not done a vision board with Lottie, it's not like Lottie said earlier, where it's like, oh, this picture looks nice. Let me cut this one up because I want to have this beautiful vision board, which is what my first vision board started off as. Like, because that's all I knew. That's all people had taught me was like, cut out things that you want to see. Like, put that vision into out there into the atmosphere, into the universe. But Lottie's vision boards, oh man, like I did one where you were like, don't pick, like let it pick you. And so I was like, you know what? Anytime I see a color of green, because I love the color green, as my background here is full of greenery.
Yeah.
Um, I was like, yeah, I'm just anything that was green, no matter what it is, I'm just going to clip it out. And when I put it together, I was just like, wow, like to sit back and like really look at that. And your vision boards go, anybody who follows, and we'll talk about where you can follow Lottie at on her social medias, but please, it is just like a sight to behold. It's so I don't know. It's just so fulfilling to watch you put together all your pictures and your collages. So yeah, and I remember looking at the one for the house when you showed me, and I thought, oh, I need to go hurry up and go do mines now.
I know. And I'm serious. Like again, we could do a whole thing on the vision boards because I've learned so much from, like you said, from the way I first started doing them to the evolution up to the intuitive collage that you were working with that day. And just really using them to unblock stuff. And like some people say vision boards don't work. And I'm like convinced that that's showing you an area, like you got to get unblocked. There's a blockage there. So, something you might
Yeah,
need to, something in a limiting belief, or, they say, let go what no longer serves you, or something, something is like,
yeah.
you got to investigate it further. So, but yeah, like I said, I tell the story and I'm just like, I have to sit back for a while and just,
Mm,
it really, yeah, I was put on my
you,
path.
you
Literally, like, the universe was like, let me help you out.
you done sojourner truth the rest of us with you because you done brought us with you, Lottie. I don't even think I know you know, but I don't think like how like a lot of what your journey has like I'm like looking like, okay, I see her walking this path. I'm gonna follow behind her and see what she's doing because I'm learning so much. And there's so much to learn, right? So I was just, been doing a lot of research, and I know you helped me along the way. Actually, I spoke before I even truly met Lottie, met you in person. I remember talking to you on the phone. A friend has said my daughter was going through a rough time. Oh man, it was just like, what are we going to do? She was having gastro issues. And at that time, I don't think she was yet diagnosed with anything. We just knew it was some type of IBD. And I just remember like talking on the phone, and you just like stayed on the phone and just was like, okay, well, now is it this? Because if it's this, well, really what you need to do, here are some simple things you can try, Adrian. Like, just do this. And I remember thinking, okay, let's go, let's get it. I got this list. And then I was so intimidated, like so intimidated. And it's funny because the other day I just been like, just doodling on the web, looking up stuff, and I came across this stat from the International, I think is Union of Conservation for Nature and Natural Resources. And it says that worldwide, between 50,000 to 80,000 flowering plants are used medicinally. And personally, I think it's probably more than that, that you haven't yet discovered, but that still is a big number. So when I think about 50,000 to 80,000 plus, because we know there's more that just because maybe based on our location, because we haven't studied other people's plants, in the way that we probably should study them. But I'm like, where does one start? Like, how do you even start the journey of herbalism without it feeling like a daunting task, or like, oh my gosh, this is a rabbit hole? I'm like, I'm intimidated. Like, where do you begin?
That's a really good question because yeah, because like you pointed out, it is, and then multiply that by the number of people that are offering classes now. And I mean, everybody is, I mean, and it's good, but it can definitely be hard to like, know what do I even do to start, And I would suggest so what I did, like, I know that I went and took those classes, right? But I had just volumes of notes after that, right? I still kind of felt like, am I supposed to just really snatch this up out the ground and eat it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still, like, in all honesty, there was still like not a comfort
Oh,
level.
yeah.
I was good with going to like, what was it? Not the natural food patch, the other store in Ferndale. I was good with buying a few bulk herbs and,
Mhm.
blending up some teas. But what I really did was I started sort of like you were doing. I started with an issue that was important enough to me
Mm.
to make me see it through. So, like, you were very concerned about your daughter's health and well-being, and if I'm not mistaken, that still fuels a lot of your particular
Mhm.
herbal and alternative medicine research when you're doing it. I notice a lot of times you're like looking, so you
Yeah.
gotta get that thing that's near and dear to you. For me, it was my sinuses. My sinuses, I used to call them face quakes because it was like having a stake through
Oh,
my eyeball. Like, I would get sinus headaches that were so bad I had to take off work. And I mean, I also was smoking cigarettes then. I was doing a lot of things that were probably impacting my sinuses.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But but I focused on herbs for my sinuses, and I made myself a tea blend that was good for sinuses. And it was, maybe that's a very self-centered approach, but there's nothing wrong with being self-centered. That's
Right.
different from selfish, I think. When you're
Exactly.
centered on yourself, because I was motivated to stay with it. I was kind of motivated to experiment on myself. You know what I mean? And I learned how to make a nice whipped shea butter.
Mm.
I learned, and that was fun, and then there's the fun factor too. Like, what do you like to do? Like, you can do a lot of stuff with things that you could make for gifts, like
Yeah.
I'd like to put together some bath salts or some bath teas or a nice tea blend. So, I mean, I think those are some of the ways a person can just, like, sort of not be intimidated by it and just kind of slowly start to get the herbs in your life. you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
and experimenting with how you can cook with, cooking with dandelion greens or using basil and making a tea from it, or what is in your kitchen. There are a
Yeah.
lot of things that you can use medicinally right in your kitchen, like going back to those folk ways is a step maybe before, quote unquote, like I said, being outside, like, oh, here we have some Monarda fistulosa, I'm going to do something with it. It's like you can make an onion, lemon, honey, garlic power syrup. You can, like those good old fashioned like
Yeah.
remedies. So I think that's a good entry point. So what is important to you? What's the
Mhm.
issue you want to focus on, or an issue for your family? It might be, how do I support myself with high blood pressure, or how do I strengthen my body for a surgery that's coming up, or afterward? How do I heal from it? Or what can I do about these allergies? Or what am I gonna do about this arthritis, or my back? Just pick one thing,
Mhm.
if you want to go that medicinal route that way. Another way, is to pick one herb. So like dandelion, that'll keep you going all day long. Or or something that's in your yard. If you have like a red clover out there, if you have plantain, if you don't know what it is, join a good plant identification group
Mhm.
on Facebook, or get a book. Um, I'm not going to talk about plant identification apps. I just don't suggest that be your only
Agree. Yeah.
means of identification. But if you just pick one plant like plantain and learn all the things it can do, that's another way you can, just put it into smaller little
Right.
chunks for you. Yep.
Right. Okay. And I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn this light on real quick because
Okay.
the daylight is just escaping. Although
That's why
I'm
I had
so
to set up
happy
the kitchen, because it's the only place in the house that wasn't going to get
to get that
dark when it
anytime
got
soon.
dark.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna adjust this here. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, I'm like, oh, my poor little lamp has just had it's done for. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. So I will admit, I have an admission to make.
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. Even though I know that I'm more than capable of like learning these plants and following the recipe and making something, I was going to make my elderberry because I had Earthseed Detroit's elderberry, and I'm like, this is it. My kids love it. They were actually like had used it all up. I had to start ordering it by the like, let me get 3 and 4 at a time, just in case Lottie, sells out. I don't want to ever be without it. I still have like, I mean, we've just been going through it. That and that golden hoot is my thing. That I call myself trying to make the elderberry. Lottie, made it hard because I was like, oh, this is just, what is this? Like, I did not. So I'm just like, okay, scratch that. We'll just order from Earthseed. So I want to learn how to make it on my own, but it does not come out like the way that yours do. And I know you mentioned earlier about how okay, here's what we do. We make some simple things. Let's, start making this here. And one of my favorite events that we've ever done, you already know I'm going to say the fire and the cider.
That was my favorite. That was my, I literally can shed a tear at how beautiful I thought.
The best. So Lottie taught us. I think all of us were new to fire cider. That's what it's called, right? So maybe you can tell us what fire cider is, what's in it, and what it's good for. And then we'll talk about how you showed us. We had a whole event around this, right? Lottie did a flyer. She had Rick James, Tina Marie.
Yep, I happen to have a big little thing of fire cider.
Oh, it looks so beautiful. It's so aesthetically pleasing to look.
Isn't it though?
Oh, that is great. I see a lemon or lime in there.
Yep.
What's all in there? Oh, that is beautiful.
I know, right? Okay, so I love making fire cider, and this has been steeping for a while. So Fire cider is just basically a infused apple cider vinegar, and it's called fire cider because it has a hot element. So it's going to have like your jalapenos, you could use habaneros, you could use cayenne peppers, you could use whatever you have, whatever you want. You don't want it to be painful to take, but you do want it to have a kick to it because that's going to kick in your, immune system. It's going to warm your body up. It's going to do all the things you need it to do. So aside from the hot element, it usually has garlic, horseradish root. I think that's the horseradish root.
Okay.
The main recipe is garlic, onions, lemon, horseradish root, and something spicy. So garlic, onions, lemon, horseradish root, and your spicy. So it could be, whatever you want it to be. And then from there, you can just get as creative as you want. This one has, I do have whole sliced lemons and limes.
That is so beautiful.
These are goji berries, which are really high in vitamin C.
Oh, okay.
I got some fresh turmeric in there because it cures the world, obviously. Right. But the memes tell it, no, but it is a good, it is a good anti-inflammatory. I got fresh ginger in there. I got burdock root in here. Oh yeah, and then I added a bunch of. So then you add your herbs, right? So I think I have like rosemary and sage, and and some cloves and like cinnamon sticks.
Oh, that is beautiful and it's power packed.
And it's just, and so you see how big I'm making them now because I do sell it, but and then you can also use it not just for being sick. It's excellent on your greens. It's excellent when you make a soup. It's excellent for salad dressing.
I think I've used it as the salad dressing. It's so good. That's your baby. Oh.
Yes, this is my baby. So we had us a fire cider making party. It was so dope. Like I want it to be a regular thing, like a fire cider build. And I just really felt like it was such a community. And honey, don't you remember how cold it was? The coldest.
It was rainy, I think. It was rainy. It was cold.
Cold. It was in October. We were trying to get that good old sort of fall, Halloween-ish, but
the cold nights, but the nice warm days.
Yeah, we just thought it was gonna be, and it was like Michigan.
You thought. It was cold, it was rainy, and is that the day we got caught in the windstorm, or was that another day?
I think so. I think it was that same night. We camped, y'all. We camped.
We did. I can't remember. Yeah, we camped
took ourselves to the next level that time. We had, so the fire cider build was I sent the kids to go gather rose hips off the rose bush, and we had everyone had their own mason jar, and I had cut up everything first because it just, I think I had cut up everything.
You did. It made it easy. Yep.
Make it easier. Yeah. But it's just such an easy thing, like get a crew together and kind of decide what you want your recipe to be. And maybe one person bring the onions and one person get the horseradish root and one person bring the lemons. And then you come together and just make a nice big jar of it. And then you take it home and it has to sit for at least, you can let it sit. I mean, if you needed it in 2 weeks, you could like skim, get a little off of it, but it never goes bad. It doesn't go bad. So, you can let it sit as long as you need to. Like this has been sitting since, I made this in the winter time.
Okay.
So it's been sitting for several months.
And it probably makes it even better. I would maybe the longer it sits, it probably just really gets all the good stuff, the nutrients and all the what you need from each of the items that you put in there. Yeah, I still have mine. And I'm like, this is perfect timing. Back in March, actually, it was before March. The world tried to call it in March, but I'm like, come December and January, I knew something. We all knew something wasn't right. Yeah. I was like, where's that fire cider? Because I was just like, hey, come on, kids, take your fire cider. Like everybody take some.
And I really like to add it to like So, you make your regular tea like you want. So then, I'm
Oh,
sorry, I meant to add that once this is done, you can strain it, and then you could either add raw honey to it to make it
that's
sort of
what I do.
sweet, sour, or you could leave it unsweet if you want to use it like for your salad dressing or for your greens or whatever. So when I add it to my tea, I sweeten my tea up like I want it to be already, and then throw me a little shot. Man, I just like this. Oh, this is another good way to get started. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
like what's one of the first things you can do, because it's so easy. It's literally foolproof. I mean, I don't know how you could.
You can't mess that. That's what I need then.
And you can put elderberry. Look, hold up. You could make an elderberry fire cider.
Oh,
You could just put your
okay.
elderberry. You could do your elderberry, your ginger, lemons, however you want to hook it up, hibiscus, and then you add your honey to it and add enough to make it to where you like the way it tastes. It's still gonna be, how tart it is. You might have to still drop it in your
Okay.
tea, like your hot water. But
Okay.
that's what I do for folks that are trying to avoid alcohol, that don't want an alcohol based medicine,
Okay.
is I'll make a vinegar based medicine. And so you could do your elderberry, try it like that.
Nice. See that? Boom.
But we had I don't know how many people were there. It was about,
Ooh.
it
Okay.
had to be like at least 30 people making fire cider. It
It,
was,
it was. It was. We went it down the line, and we put in your garlic. Okay, come to the next part. Put in this. We had Rick James and Tina Marie
playing.
blasting in the background. Oh, we had our
We had Big
tent set
James in
up.
the background, like
Oh, and we had
sumo,
that.
sumo. We had our spiked, remember that spiked cider we made?
Listen, I was not about to let that go. I, to this day, I don't know how many cups of that first because it was like warming me up, right? We had that, and I super spiked mine. So forgive me if I don't know whether we was at the fire and the cider event or if it was the Juneteenth because we camped out on Lottie's beautiful homestead on Juneteenth. Which was another beautiful event. We've had some beautiful interactions on that land. I feel like your friend is probably like smiling, like the land is
My friend
happy.
is smiling, and the land, I can tell the land is happy. The land feels like she is doing what she was meant to do. I
Oh,
can just tell. I can tell by how healing it is. Whoever comes out here, whether it's like, so you're part of like what Earthseed Detroit does is I've done like goddess retreats. I've done a day-long meditation retreat. I've done the
mhm.
overnight camping trips with SoulVival Life, and other organizations.
Back to the land. Yep,
Back to the
we
land.
posted up on your spot.
And every time it's just, I feel like it's so healing for everyone
It
that's
is.
there. And I just, I cannot believe that I've been I mean, I can believe it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I just, it's such a blessing. I mean, who'd have thought, like, from the first phone call we had, the herbal consultation, like you were talking
Right,
about your daughter. Who'd have thought? Did
right.
we even know we was about to just be like these? We didn't even know we was
I
about
honestly, I did. It's so funny, Lottie. Like I feel like we on this always on the same wavelength because that was one of the things I was thinking. Like, so we had that conversation. I really didn't know you anything other than somebody said, "Hey, you should talk to this sister. She knows, like, she loves what she does, and I know she can at least put you on the right path. She'll tell you what. If she don't know, she'll let you know. But if she thinks there are some simple things, so I'm like, bet called you." Tried to incorporate a few things and then the frustration of just changes to her health and happened. And so I didn't speak to you for a while, but as life would happen, the universe made us bump into each other because we both attended a outdoor Afro hike event that Alexis led. And I just remember my first time meeting you. I was like, what? I mean, it was just like, I'm like, oh no, like, when's your birthday? Excuse me, when's your birthday? Because you were just like your spirit. And I hate to be that zodiac person. I really don't want to be that person. I always try to deny it. But at the end of the day, I'm like something, my senses are going on. Excuse me, like, when is your birthday? Like just as if it was
Gemini, May 23rd.
Right, on May 24th. This makes so much sense. Lottie had first off, she came to the hike with the bug off spray, the all natural, and I did not get bit not once on that hike. And I know a few people who didn't put it on and did get a couple of bites here and there. But just talking to Lottie, and Lottie, as we're walking, like this hike turned into just this beautiful wealth of information. And since then, it's like anytime we hike, Lottie is always gracious enough to like stop us for a second and pay attention to the plants around you. And you
I
see
love
this
the way
right
you
here.
said
I love it. I love it.
that. Lottie is gracious enough
You
point out things on the way. When I'm like, I am being the biggest nerd. I'm like always face to the ground,
like,
talking about some, oh look, hey, come here.
oh, we eat it
Everybody's
up
like,
though.
I'm way at the back with somebody them up talking about, now here we have, this is a little.
Oh, we eat it up, Lottie. Like from the but wait a minute, that might be a false. Is it false Solomon or the
Right. Now,
oh,
is it false Solomon seal? Solomon seal, like,
don't don't fall for it, guys. This is how you know. I know. I do remember Urban Ranger. The first thing he was like, "I'm gonna avoid those leaves. I think the three the point.
yeah,
Yeah. So, so we learned so much, and what I really love is that we do it in it's never like this high pressure environment or this like, no, it's just always like this beautiful, fun exploration. And that's one of the things I really appreciate with the people in survival life. Like it's not this doom and gloom type of thing. It's this beautiful, like you said, getting back to the basics and just trying to learn how like the world around you again, like we've been so disconnected from it. And so meeting people like you and from you, this is why I think connections are so beautiful and so powerful. For meeting you, I've started to align with other people who I'm just like, oh, where have you guys been all my life? And where has Lottie been all my life? Like in the short period that I've known you, I feel like I've known you for like a long time. And I know a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say this, like they've told me like, yeah, it feels like I've known Lottie for like the longest time. And it might only be like 2 or 3 years, but it feels like a beautiful lifetime. So I just had to throw that in there. And we are a day apart on birthdays, so it makes sense that some of our quirks, although I will admit, I feel like because you're a day before me, somehow the cutoff for like actually being an action item person was the 23rd. I'm a dreamer. I feel like you're the dreamer and you do stuff. And I just was like, oh shoot, I missed the date. I'm like a day late.
I do a lot of missing the date too, man. I'm telling you, it's just, girl, first of all, I think you do a lot too. See, I think Geminis have this sort of dual way of seeing themselves. At least I do. Like I never think I'm doing the things I say I'm gonna do, or that I'm, you know what I mean? I never feel like I'm performing to the level that my goals and dreams list is, but somebody else look at it and go, what are you talking about? And that's the same with you. I mean, the same with I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? You done did this, you did this, you did this. Yeah, you took archery. I see everything. You boiling at the maple syrup tap.
Oh, that's
seen you.
Forgot about those things.
I mean, and
you the most.
You're an effort to get to everything, and you are always taking in information and sharing.
Listen, I think that must just be that May. I always like to tell people, like, if you done heard bad stuff about Geminis, it's likely them June Geminis. They are a little bit different than the May Geminis, but I love it. I love it. So I know we're about to start winding down a little bit. So it's time for me to focus on this soul segment. So a soul segment, Lottie, is a super sweet, short, simple snippets about you and Earthseed Detroit. You know how long it took me to get simple, short, sweet snippets of soul segments?
I was like, okay, alliteration, go with that. Oh, okay.
So for our soul segments of Survival Life, this is where we find out a little bit more about what you're giving your attention to right now. So what's like holding
Oh,
on to you. I know what you're holding on to you. And so we're just going to ask a couple of questions for you. So, first question, Miss Lottie, is what was the last book that you read that was so impactful to you and why? Lottie's a book nerd like me, by the way.
I am.
I
That's
know
look,
she's
and that's another thing that Adrian got me into. Don't let her start sending you group requests.
Wait a minute. We go. That's a whole nother episode with the group.
I know. So, and does this should focus on the earth, like my Earthseed?
No, it could be anything. It could be any book that has outside of Earthsea, outside of herbalism, just any book that you've read that's been impactful to you and why.
Well, okay. So it's super personal, but it is the road I'm on right now. And the
Mm,
book that I read is called The Primal Wound
mm,
by Nancy Newton Verrier, and it is about adoption trauma.
mm,
And so what I've been focusing on, with lockdown, I mean, it'll cause you to, I mean, I've been I'm a real introspective person anyway, always
mm,
trying to do self-work. And this goes back to what I was saying about if you're not manifesting what's on your vision board, you might want to consider where you're blocked. And
mm.
I just kept feeling like, how you be trying to get to the next level or get to the other side or get to I just could feel this tangible thing in front of me, almost like blocking me, like where I would sort of shut down or where I would let fear impact my moves or not bring my full self to the party. And I've been peeling away the layers for years, and I finally ran up on adoption. I was adopted. I was like, oh, you think? Let's go back to the beginning. You thought you was going back to the beginning.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that book really, it talks about the impact of adoption on individuals and how we kind of underestimate, which as a mother, I know this, but children come into the world bonded to their
Oh,
mothers, from 9 months. I mean, you only
right,
grow
right,
inside of that person's body.
right.
So it's not going to be as easy as they like to say, like babies are a blank slate. You can just
Ooh,
plop them into
right.
another environment and they're going to be just fine. So it was eye-opening. It
Mm.
was really eye-opening. And so I've been doing a lot of work around that. That book, I felt like somebody was peeking in and sometimes I was like, somebody is spying on me. This is all up in my stuff.
Oh boy.
So that was
Primal Wound.
powerful.
Okay, Primal Wound. So that's okay. That name alone, I'm always attracted to names of books. Like to me,
Yeah.
that's gonna determine whether I'm gonna like what they say. You can't judge a book by its cover. The heck you can't. Like to me, that's like, am I gonna actually open up and like figure out? But okay, and I know you've talked about that before that book, and I know it's been impactful for you. So hopefully someone may be also in the same situation and be feeling that same the emotions that you're going through. They would probably pick up that book and just read a little bit more about it and kind of
Mhm.
like you said, be introspective and think about how they're dealing with things. So definitely check that book out. And then, so what has been something that you recently discovered that made you say, wow, that's so dope? I never knew that. Like, has anything new popped up where you're like, oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I know that I always feel like every now and again, I'm like, oh my goodness, like it's like this epiphany of something, or yeah, have you stumbled upon anything that just made you step back and like have to take a moment to like gather your thoughts and
Oh, honey, that sounds feels like
I know that's a big one, but I always feel like I run into those every now and again. Like every few months, I'm like, like this epiphany or this like almost like this is I don't know, it's got such a magnitude to it that it's like it resonates, like it stays with me for such a long time.
I think one of mine was I had to make myself like some affirmations like to stick around the house because of one of
Mm,
these moments like you're just talking about right now. Because again, getting into these loops like questioning
uh,
yourself and da, 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 and I had to the words came like as evidenced by, what is it? It's right here too. I got it up here. One line. It says, as evidenced by the way your life and work is unfolding, can you please celebrate the amazing blessings of your gifts, skills, and talents and how they're being utilized by the universe? You know, it was like, stop playing. Stop. I have to say that to myself all the time, like, as evidence. It's like, look around you.
Right.
When you feel like you're not whatever, when you feel like this isn't coming together, when you feel like, I mean, and it's not just looking around me here, it's just like, it's just everything. Like, I know I have a really strong and sincere desire to be my highest version, to be my to be in my purpose, you know what I mean?
Right.
And going around always feeling less than is not the way to honor your gifts and talents and skills, you know what I mean? And going so I had to be like, I just was like,
that's a deep one. That's a big one. That needs to be on a wall for me too, because like trying to fight that imposter syndrome. And it's like, oh, but Adrienne, you're just getting started. And here you are like trying to make it seem, but no, like who cares? Like I'm here now. I probably just like, why do we deny the evidence? Like, why do we ignore the evidence that says, no, you're on the path of your purpose, and like stop trying to drown it out, stop trying to silence it. So I love that one, Lottie.
Down, stop trying to put the dimmer switch on it. Stop trying to make other people feel better by not glowing your full glow, whatever it may be. And that was the word. It just was as evidence. And I'll be talking to like Talitha or somebody. We still laugh about it now because I'll be like, as evidence. Like
I feel like
you're in me comes out as evidence.
I feel like you're in a court of law, like you are the plaintiff and the defendant. Like somebody's like, you've done this, and these amazing things.
Right.
Here's the evidence.
And I'm like, okay, I have to remember that it's such a struggle. It is. It's really been interesting to like see, like, I know we need to be gentle with ourselves at the same time. Like, I'm not saying we always have to be like, you should be more productive and you should be doing this and you should be, you know, you got to be gentle and loving to yourself. But there is a point in time where you just got to really be like, all right, this just doesn't even make sense. I'm not being realistic here. I can do this. I can do whatever. Even if I don't do it well, it's like, it's okay. It's okay.
Exactly. Ooh, that's a word. I'm gonna need you to like type that at the end so I can like hang that up myself, because I need to put that on the mirror all the time. You know, it's like, whew, okay, I love that. I love it. So here's a quick one for you. Coffee, wine, or tea? You can only keep one. I know. I said this because these are Lottie's like, and wine is probably the third, but I know coffee and tea are like, or tea and coffee are up there pretty high.
Yeah. So I really think it would have to, I really think I'd keep coffee.
You keep coffee. Okay, good. Like a good
I don't even like whatever the thing is that makes your brain like turn on in the morning so that you can like function. Mine requires caffeine. Like I'll be like, I don't know.
So not just caffeine from tea, but it has to be that. Do you like?
Yeah, you know what? Exactly. Exactly. It's not just, look at me getting all into it, right?
Science.
It's like, because it's not just a caffeinated. You're right. It's not just a caffeinated beverage. I like the smell of coffee. I like the process of making my coffee. I like to sit.
That first sip, like,
I like that first sip just hits like, I have entered the building. It's like I can come into myself.
I can always tell when Lottie's had her coffee in the morning. It's just like, I can tell that. What's it called? A Bitmoji?
A Bitmoji's happy when I've had coffee. She'd be like, morning.
Yeah, she sure do. She'd be at attention. Okay, here's another hard one for you, maybe. Camping, foraging, or gardening? I know. This is so mean to give a Gemini, like to make them make a decision. So
We're
cruel.
all about bothness, well, it's this and this and this.
Right. And that
I'm okay with all the options, right?
and that.
Camping, foraging, or gardening. Oh my goodness, that's super hard.
hmm
Okay, just because I'm not gonna sit here and really ponder this all night long. I'll be all night.
You're gonna call me tomorrow, like
Right later, like, well, Melanie, I think I should have said something.
I thought about it for like the last 24 hours since we talked.
I'm gonna say based on the community, the camaraderie, and the wraparound. I mean, it's all fun when we get to talking about it, like in SoulVival life and everything. But our camping experiences, because I don't camp alone. I can garden alone. You know what I mean? I can forage alone, but I forage with other people. But my camping has been full of so many sweet memories from my grandkids up to us doing our thing at all the different places, Idlewild to Proud Lake to my place and who knows where we're going next. That opened.
Wake up and do nothing. Like wake up and it's like, what we eating today? Like, and just sit back and do nothing.
Yeah.
I still think about your grandson when he says, are we camping yet?
When he woke up, he was like, "Are we still camping?" I was like, "Yes, honey, we are still." I mean, it's just really, and it was something that was sort of like on your list, one day, and it has so fully and completely manifested, like how we geek out, like, "Oh my God, look, they have a 4-season tent. I think we need to get a 4-season tent because we're gonna." Honey, when we camped in that sub-zero, it wasn't sub-zero, but that freezing rain that night, I was like, okay.
And the windstorm, the 4 a.m. unexpected windstorm that was just like,
and the windstorm in Idlewild, that was like a tornado.
Man, we done battle tested. That's what, and we are still here and we're still excited to get out on another trip. Get out some more camping. And I don't even have to ask the last question because I think you kind of answered it earlier. My question was going to be, what has been your absolute favorite SoulVival life memory to date?
I know, so many. I mean, there really are so many. I feel like my life has been so enriched by the community of SoulVival life. Truly, truly, truly. I don't know what's going to outplace the compost build, though.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was the best.
Yeah.
That was the best.
Every time I go to the compost bin, I get a warm, fuzzy feeling.
And it's not just the compost warming up this time.
It was just so beautiful. It was such a loving community event, and I could see how, and everyone's hands were on it, from Halima's little children to, Mama Gwen Winston was out there, then Renee was involved.
Yes, Renee was guiding us, and
it's just,
Anthony came down from Ohio, like the G that he is, and it really was like
happened and came back to finish it up, and I was just so touched by his commitment to getting it done and just his generosity of time and spirit. And of course, I'll never forget listening to Found the Cure,
Taylor
Ashford and Simpson.
Y'all don't understand. So first off, let's talk about this compost was huge. It's like
it was big. It was.
It's not like, I'm just gonna start off with a compost.
No, it's like the hold of a ship, right? It's like when y'all built it in my garage, I was like, are we gonna be able to get this thing out of here? Like, put it on some wheels, or how are we gonna get this?
It's huge, people.
Like, it's huge, right?
It is huge. And here it comes. They started playing some music, and I found the cure. And that played. I'm like, is this song a repeat? Because it's been on for 30 minutes.
It was the 12 or 15-minute disco version. And I could not stop dancing around. And Leroy, bless his heart, we're trying to secure the wire mesh over it so that the rodents don't get in and out, which was a real tedious job of sort of like holding it down, hammering it, and had to sort of sew one part of it with the wire and hold it down and hammer it, hold it down and hammer. Well, I was supposed to be, I don't know, we were supposed to be a team, but I had to go dance between every time I hammered, and I'd go dance off. And I come back to his eyes looking up at me because he was inside of the compost bin, looking up at me like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, damn. And then I go dance off again, and then he'd come back, and he was still in the compost bin. But it would just, and then VJ was there, and he just,
VJ, that's our little man right there.
And just remember, he was trying to arm wrestle.
Oh, Eric, you want arm wrestle? And then I don't know how to
arm ain't no bigger than this. Talking about something. You want arm wrestle? I was like, what?
Oh, we had a good time. We taught Anthony taught the kids how to make their own water filtration. We drank the water from the pond because we filtered it out. We had the charcoal, we had the rocks, the sand.
And which is how school is supposed to be, right? Because them kids were running up to me every 5 minutes. We need a bucket.
Yeah.
Like, okay, got a bucket. Came back. We need some sand for the water filtration device. I was like, oh, okay. We need some. I was like, okay.
Oh,
they were little, and trust me, they cried when they had to leave the next day. They had some.
We got more to come. When things settle down, we definitely have more to come. And it has been a wonderful journey for all of us learning this. So Lottie, I know as we're wrapping up, so it's funny, I was just trying to think of, like, when I think of Lottie, what do I think about? So I think about a lot of things, but I don't know, for some reason, the image of, I don't know why I keep thinking about what you were at 4 or 5 years old. And I had this image of you like pulling up a dandelion when it's gone to seed, and it's the fluffy little white flower, beautiful puff. And I just imagine a 4 or 5 year old Lottie like blowing on it. And then, like, it's so like theatrical, like it's flowing through the air and the wind is taking it. Like, where is it going to take it? Like, where is it going? And like, so where do you think Earthseed Detroit is going? Where are you and Earthseed Detroit going? Like, where do you find yourself in the next days and years?
That was smooth, Adrienne.
Well, I don't know why. For some reason, that image like just comes to my mind. And I'm a Gemini, guys. Forgive me. Like, it's the only way I can.
I'm with you. Well, I think what I would like to do, I've been lucky that I have been doing some herbal writing. I was lucky to partner with someone who was doing there's a tea distributor called Arbor Tea I think they're in Ann Arbor, I guess. But they were like revamping their website and wanted herb profiles done. And so I partnered with a naturopathic doctor to like write all of the profiles. And that was fun. I love to write.
Oh,
I know that writing is my next thing I'm supposed to be doing more of. So I'm putting it out here, my writing, and incorporating that like into my Earthseed Detroit channel. Like, I'm trying to do more herbal book review videos that especially focus on herbalists of color, or it might be natural living, but of people of color who have written things. I mean, I'm gonna do other books too, but really trying to bring attention to those books. And the other exciting thing I've been working on is working with a group that we are working on this herbalism. Well, it's a tarot deck, but it's not an herbal tarot deck. It's a Afrofuture Octavia Butler tarot deck that will also feature herbs. And I did the herbs. So that has me going, like, the intersection of herbs and astrology, which is how you get to tarot, right? And this is totally perfect for a Gemini brain, right? It's dense. It's dense how you get from the herbs through astrology to the tarot cards. And, so that I could see myself going really deep into that. So So I think that's what I want to do. I want to focus on, my writing. I had decided this was going to be like my Sankofa year.
Oh, I
Um,
love it. I
that
love
was the
it.
theme for this year, was to go back and look at, I've taken so many classes. I have so many books. I've had so many experiences, but what is, like looking at them all again and kind of seeing, like, look at all these herbal notes, and what is the next thing that wants to come forward from all the, because
Yeah.
I keep doing new stuff. I keep signing up for new stuff. It's like, wait.
Gemini.
I know, as I love it, I'm trying to, I'm gonna get back to taking new stuff. But right now, I just feel like I need to, go back and look at everything that I have and see
Yeah.
what's the most natural thing that's going to emerge out of there, what wants to be birthed next, what wants to come forward. So,
I
so
love
that's what
it.
I'm trying to do.
I love it.
Right.
And that's fitting. I know you've been talking about writing for a while. And I know, first off, again, Lottie does these amazing tarot cards, like where it's just like so aesthetically pleasing, like just beautiful and so deep. There's so many layers to it. So it sounds like you're right where you're supposed to be.
And
Like,
my
I mean,
art, bringing the art into it more. Yes.
right.
That's what I'm
Like,
looking
oh, I
for.
love all of that, Lottie. So I am so excited just for both of our journeys. I hope we continue to like intertwine our dreams, our destinies. Like, I'm just excited to see where you're going to go. And I want to make sure people can also follow you. So, can you tell me where people can find you on social media?
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I'm all over social media.
Yes.
Earthseed Detroit on all the platforms. I have a YouTube channel that's Earthseed Detroit, and my Instagram is Earthseed Detroit. Although I have a separate Instagram called Free Range Chick,
I
which
love
is
that.
where I kind of put my collages and some of my more, personal explorations and motivational stuff, and adoptee work is on there. And Facebook, Earthseed Detroit, um, everywhere. The website is www.earthseeddetroit.com. So you can find me. I hope you'll shout out, hope you'll subscribe,
Yes,
follow.
please do. I'm going to be
Yeah.
sure to drop all the links for Free Range Chick, so you can follow there, and you can follow Earthseed Detroit. There's so many beautiful videos, videos that Lottie has uploaded to YouTube, and you can catch her also on Facebook. So I'm going to make sure to drop all those links so everybody can find you there. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just excited. I cannot wait to see you in person, to
I
like touch
know.
and feel you again. Like it's coming. I'm so confident that it's coming. But I just want to thank you so much for not only what you do for Survival Life. So two things I just got to part with. Lottie is the, when I always say I'm one part of Survival Life, I not only mean the survivalists and survivors, the members, but as far as like the leadership team, the core team, I call it, people who say we should be doing this and let's think about this and this would be great. Lottie is up there with me. So it's myself, Lottie, and Anthony. So we all try to make sure we're taking the direction of Survival Life where we want it to go. And one quick thing, you probably, if you caught it, Lottie talked about the tarot cards with Octavia Butler. I think that's going to be dope. Make the connection with Earthseed.
Oh, Earthseed Detroit.
Got it. Like, you're right. If you don't know, check out Octavia. As Lottie told me when I was like, where did you get that name from? Because I was not Octavia Butler's like savvy. I just didn't know. And Lottie's like, oh, you need to go get that book. I was like, oh, okay. Parable of the Sower. Got the book. And I thought, oh, and this was before all the mayhem happened, right? And in the book, everything that was predicted to like I know something's going to happen is what the protagonist said. Like something's going to happen. The year was 2020 something. I can't remember. It was
Mhm.
something that like
It
was
was
like, ooh.
crazy, wasn't it? And I reread it recently, not to
Mhm.
make this go any longer, but
No, no,
I
please do.
reread it recently because of the work on the tarot deck. I reread Parable of the Sower, Parable of the Talents,
I got
and Kindred. I was trying to work my way through all her stuff. And I hadn't read it since 2009. 2009, well, no, I think I read it in there somewhere, but 2009 was when I started the Earthseed Detroit blog. And I didn't know I wasn't even doing herbalism. I wasn't doing none of all this stuff. And I'm reading
Wow.
it now. And let me tell you, yeah, we're going to end on this note because I am convinced after reading those books,
Uh-oh.
I am convinced that Lottie from the future
Uh-oh.
went back to Lottie in the past and said in 2009 and was like, read this book here.
Oh, wow.
Because it was just too, again, as evidenced. As evidenced by when I read those books, look, not only it was just so many. I was like, I didn't know I'd be working on Octavia Butler tarot deck. I didn't know I'd be doing herbalism. I didn't know. It was just so much that I was like, I can't help but think that Lottie from the future, and it could be a future that hasn't even come yet, right? It might be
Right.
2030 or 2040. Actually, I don't even know.
Right.
I'm convinced someone somewhere in the future came back to 2009 and was like, you're going to need this. Let me get you started.
That's so deep. That is so deep. And on that note, you guys, please pick up Octavia Butler. Start off with Parable of the Sower, then move your way to Parable of the Talents and Kindred. And don't forget to follow Earthseed Detroit, where you can see all about, get some information on herbalism, some recipes, some good books to read, just everything you need to know to feel whole. Really love it. Lottie, thank you so much. If you don't know, I love you. I really do like everything about this. Thank you so much for being on SoulVival, like the podcast, and thank you for all you've done for us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I love you too. You're such a dear sister, friend, just comrade, Gemini queen with me. And I love that. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today and have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Have a good one.
All right. Peace.
Peace.